Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Talk About It with Tyra. First I want to say I thank everyone for your support, for tuning in each and every week for a new episode. But tonight I have two very special guests. I have Tony, who I've known all my life, I think, right?
Some of it.
Most of it.
Most of it.
Most of my life, if not all my life. I want to say all my life, maybe. Okay, most of my life I've known. This is Tony to my left, and then to my right I have Greg. Tonight I could be a little bit silly, but tonight we're getting serious. We're talking about finances, generational wealth, mindset, and breaking generational curses. And who is here to help me do that is Greg. Thank you for being here. Thank you for agreeing to being here. And tell me a little bit about who Greg is.
Wow, that's. I get that asked a lot. I get that question asked a lot. But Tyra Gray is just a guy who had a long, just a theory of trying to figure out which lane he wanted to take as a kid. I knew I didn't want to be working for a corporation. I knew I didn't want to have a job. I wanted to be in some type of business.
So at a very
young age, 14, 15, I had this theory about being a boss. My mom was just born with it. So I became like a go-to guy in the neighborhood.
Right.
He's the go-to guy for this, for that. And as I got older, they just kept coming and coming. Yeah. So, Greg became a household name in the communities which we grew up in North Philadelphia. And I just put a spin on it and just kept running with it and adding and building to the name. And it became phenomenal, to be honest. It became phenomenal. It's been a great journey. From real estate to just opening different businesses, entrepreneur. Like I said, every business you open, Tyra, is not going to be the one, right. But it's an experience. It's a learning curve to go through it. But it's been a great journey.
Yeah. What made you become passionate about finance and wealth building? From out of everything that you've done and knowing that you're this entrepreneur and you want to own your own business and you want to, you don't want to work for anyone and all of that. When did you realize that, finance and wealth was your calling?
Well, I saw many mistakes that people was making. So
within our community.
People was making tons of mistakes. They were everybody wanted to be in business, right?
Right.
Everybody wanted to start, whether they're selling handbags on a corner, whether they're doing hair in a beauty salon, barbershop, everybody wanted to be in business. But a lot of times we put the cart before the horse, right?
We just had that conversation, didn't we?
We just had that conversation. Take that pill before you read the bottle.
Yeah, absolutely.
We just had that
so
conversation.
they run and do all this stuff over these businesses.
And none of us know how to do business. We just want the money.
Business. We understand the trade.
Yeah.
So I can tell you this. I read a book called The E-Myth by Michael Gerber. And the book talks about a lot of businesses that fail because lack of infrastructure, lack of just not knowing. Right. So it makes you think like this, Tyler. Most hairstylists think they can be a business owner. They will open up their own salon. Yeah. Or most carpenters will open up their own construction company or their own business because they can do the work. Right. But the book tells us that just because you're good at a skill doesn't mean you can be a business owner. Right. So that's kind of where I start understanding that. And I really started digging and doing research and found out that most people that was getting involved in businesses and things like that didn't know the journey. They didn't know how to start, where to start. So that's kind of what I started doing.
With that being said, what are some of the financial habits that keep generations stuck? Just like the same circle and pattern over and over and over again. What mistakes do you think we make all the time when trying to, the intentions are good, right? And we know the wealth that we want,
right?
But then somewhere we're making the same mistakes over and over again and we're staying stuck and we're never getting to that next tax bracket or where we want to be. What do you think that is?
Very good question. Very good question. And I believe truly is that we have been, it's a generational situation. We never broke that system. So it's almost like what you heard that slogan, want to be like the Joneses. We fell in love with the monetary things, keeping up with the Joneses. The guy, a popular guy on the block, he may not be the most educated or most smart guy, but he has the latest sneakers first. So it just was in us. And the problem that we have, even in today's society, we don't know how to make that example which you're the leader in the household.
Right.
So it's okay to tell your kid, look, I can't afford that.
Right.
But
be open.
You gotta be open, you gotta be transparent.
Right.
I can't see, I don't want to, the designer bag doesn't make you who you are, right? So we get caught up behind the stuff. I call it stuff. We like the stuff. The stuff was we're gonna make us, it's gonna make us hot. It's gonna make us feel
and we're
more
all
alive.
guilty a little bit when it comes to certain things.
It's the stuff. And I think the stuff is what keeps us stuck.
Yeah.
When the TVs was out, everybody had to have a big TV. Everybody, if you go into my house right now and you have a small TV, you'll laugh at them. But it does the same thing, right?
No, we laugh at them when we get invited over to watch the fight or the game or some shit like that.
Right.
And then they got this small ass TV. Come on.
And we got some fires on it.
Exactly. So it's not about the small TV. It's about, don't invite me over and I gotta squint. I already wear glasses.
I completely understand that. That was cool.
But you know what was interesting is, because that's a good point, because we want the biggest everything.
Right.
And a lot of times we suffer from delusions of grandeur.
Mm-hmm.
I do think that the concrete jungle bullies us subliminally. So when we don't have certain things, we beat ourselves up, right? And I know growing up, I couldn't gauge for it.
Yeah.
Because if you had a big wheel, you were rich.
Yeah.
Right? Or if you had a skateboard, you were rich. Yeah. But yeah, I agree with you, Greg. I feel like you had the generational curse, but you also have a cultural failure that actually latches on to that. And if you don't break that failure, that curse is always going to be there.
Yeah, and someone has to be able to say, hey, we're going to do it a little different.
How do you do that though? Like, how do you teach people or when you speak to people and you're showing them how to break these curses, what advice do you give them? How do you,
so let's start with a balance sheet.
Okay.
So we got a balance sheet. There's two sides to a balance sheet. There's an asset and there's a liability, right? So here's what I say to people. If you keep spending on everything you get, on this side of the sheet is going to be out of balance. I mean, you're going to be nothing but a liability. The assets is what keep you moving and shaking, keep you grounded, right? But if you lose all your liability, I mean, you don't have any assets to work with, you just got a liability, you become a problem.
That's a good point, because I'm a firm believer in not spending unless I have it coming in.
Right.
If I'm going to make a big purchase, I want to be sure that I have that coming in, not just what I have spent my life saving or what, I want to make sure that whatever I'm putting out, I have that coming back in. I'm not constantly depleting myself.
So the only way you can kind of get ahead of the 8 ball is try to balance it out. I mean, at the end of the day, I want you to have something nice, but did you have to have it today when you know you only got $400 in your checking account? Right. You want to deplete that because you want a pair of Timberlands or you want to get your son the latest sneaker? You depleted that. Now, when the electric Pico says, hey, your bill is due, you stuck.
And you got a call. And you got a $40,000 prime. You got to pay for it, right? That's a different level.
Talk about it, Greg. Talk about it.
It's sad. I mean, it's sad. It's funny at the same time. You gotta get a balance there. People come to me all the time. I had a young lady, real talk. She pulls up in the car, kind of like what we did tonight. We know where you're located, right? She said, "Where are you located?" I said, "I'm right out front, right on State Avenue." And she pulled up. She said, "What do you drive?" She said, "I have a Porsche truck." I said, "Okay." She pulls in, she comes in, and I know the young lady's stuff is authentic. Chanel shoes, all the labels. And she says, "Hey, I need to get business credit. I need business credit for my business." I said, "Okay, well, business credit is predicated on your personal background as well, partially. You know what I'm saying? It's easy to get business credit. If you got a brick and mortar business or you online, you got something to prove it." Right. So when we peel the onion back a little bit, I said, "Let me see your financials." So I'm looking at the bank statement and I'm like, this can't be right. You said you pulled up in a $100,000 vehicle, got about $25,000 worth of merchandise on. You only got this? Yeah, that's why I came to you. Oh, wow. So the problem with that is if I show her how to get $50,000, she's just gonna do the same thing again. She'll buy more stuff. So people need to understand it's not about the stuff. I want to educate you on what they do with the money. It's understanding money, how money works. You're going to deplete everything, but that's just a small story. I got thousands of them. So I think that in order to answer your question directly, to fix that problem, I think we need to be able to break that curse right there. Listen, you have to tell your kid, you can't get those. You can't get those apples, the red bottom shoes. You'll get you these. They're the same thing. We had I'll tell you a real story.
Yeah.
My daughter, we had a little disagreement about the vehicle all the time.
Mm-hmm.
She wanted the Rolls Royce. That was fine. The Rolls Royce had a problem. I got her to make that drop. Oh, she went through the haywire because she wanted the Rolls Royce.
This generation is different.
But after the prom, she texted me and said, Dad, it didn't even matter. That was beautiful what you did.
Aww.
We'll keep it real though.
Aww.
It's because of you, Greg.
Oh, absolutely.
You built that. You built it up.
But that is why I say
right?
you have to stop
you
it somewhere.
built that up.
So if we built that in there, we kind of added, and I told her that at the end of the day, look, I'm not gonna beat you up too bad in some part of that problem.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And
But she recognized.
She recognized.
She recognized the effort, the thought, and the love that went into it. Like, I mean, being a kid, you you're pressured, and you want what you want, or you think you want what you want, because your peers are saying that's what you should have.
Sure.
But somewhere, or at some point down along the way, you taught her well, because she was able to kind of circle back and say, hey, that wasn't important. What was important was what you did and how you continue to show up for it.
For sure. For sure.
So
yeah,
that was a win. That was a win.
It was a great night.
And Anthony, you do a lot, as far as financing and just in the community in general. Talk a little bit about that. What you do and what you're working on and how you give back daily. Because just a couple of weeks you were on prom duty.
Right.
And I had to think I'm like, wait a minute, his daughter graduated college already. Why is he on prom duty? But that's just how you show up for your community and your friends and your family.
Oh yeah, and I don't even much to twist my arm. I think that sometimes, but I wasn't always like this.
Yeah.
I think that coming up, we was in survival mode.
Right.
But we were always coming up and growing up in the Richard Allen Project. If you didn't have anything presented to you, I remember knocking on doors asking for sugar and bread and stuff like that. So we were giving to as well and humble. Like I said earlier, we didn't know what was poor.
Right.
I remember when and I wanted to go to college.
Mm-hmm.
So I still was kind of rough around the edge. I remember going to a college fair and applying for college.
What you wanted.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
But who would have known going to college, and the same college, 30 years later, going back to run it, being part of the board.
Because at one point, it was being threatened to close, and I remember you just rallying for it to stay open and doing so much. And
we're still in that same thing.
Yeah.
I think that the drive in me kind of resonated into my community.
Right.
I wanted to give something back.
Right.
I said, you know what? Because I went to college for free. Full ride, everything. Didn't have to pay for anything. Oh, yeah. And I took advantage of it, and I knew it would contribute to my mother's portfolio.
Okay.
And we look at the college cost right now, the cost of going to school is astronomical. You're talking about $250,000, to go for
when we
years.
talk about finances, that's something to think about because, college, not saying that it hasn't always been, but today especially, it's a business.
It's a business.
And
folks don't understand that.
You can't think about it when they're in 10th grade. It's too late.
It's too late.
You can't afford it.
Yeah.
You're going to go to community college.
But we don't, I felt like those folks who didn't get a chance to go, I'm going to help them anyway.
Right.
So even they don't have access, because college is not for everybody.
Right.
And because it's a business, sometimes it can be predatory.
Right.
Right? It can be predatory. You got your loans, your parent loans and things like that. So by the time the parent is 20, if the parent is 30 years old or 35 years old, they got a child going to college. Sometimes they can't get ahead because they're
So do you think that, with all that being said, do you think that if an individual says, you know what, I'm not going to college, I can't afford it, it's just too much, do you think that can also be a wise decision as well, just to not have that debt? You
It
know,
can
Yeah,
be.
of course, it can be a wise decision. Absolutely.
It can
yeah,
be.
and especially when you have community college, right?
Yeah,
Where
community
you can
college.
go and get your certificates, your diplomas,
Mhm.
your degree, like what your associates, right?
Associates,
Yeah.
But you know what we have, and
All your prerequisites at least
at least.
before
Right.
you go to a university.
Mhm.
You know?
or you can go to a trade school.
Yeah.
Like, so, many of us in, culture, we suffer from delusion of grandeur. We like these titles and these degrees and all of us define who we are.
Right.
Dr. Somebody, Dr. Tony,
For
Dr.
sure.
Greg, Dr. Tara. And a lot of times, we yearn for those things, we get them, but we can't do
It
anything
makes
with
us
it.
feel so good.
Right.
It sounds good. It sounds cute. It sounds cute. But what happens is that sometimes it can subliminally beat up somebody who might not be able to have those things.
That's right.
Right? And because, we know, like, yeah, I went to college, I had a great education, had a great career. But none of it means anything to me. I never inspired to get rich.
Right.
I just wanted to be okay.
Comfortable.
Yeah, and comfortable.
Yeah.
So in my whole entire career, I worked public health for 30-something years, saving lives.
I'm so proud of you,
right.
like just
And,
retired and everything.
But you know what they-
Still working,
Right.
just still giving back.
and the answer
Like,
is,
just
Yeah, he'll
Right.
not, every time I talk to him, he's
I
like,
can't
I'm going
stop.
into this meeting. I got this going on. I got to travel.
Yeah.
Like, I'm exhausted just hearing all of what he has going on.
And I-
it's all good.
Yeah, it's all good.
It's all helping, someone else or giving back
Right.
in some type of way.
right, because enlightenment is priceless
Mm-hmm.
sometimes. And, this gentleman knows I can be extremely argumentative when pressing certain things that I feel is important that should be important to somebody else. It's passion because
Right.
your passion has to be higher than your mission, and that's my motto. So to answer your question, with me, I've been on boards. I've been on board at my college. I was a board for Georgia Cannon House of Hope for Girls, Georgia Cannon House of Hope for Youth, in which I'm currently on the advisory board. I was the president for 5 years.
Wow.
And I said, you know what? I want to ease my hand out the lion's mouth.
Yeah.
After all the things that I've done, I said, I'm going to sit back and chill.
Yeah. But you can't though, because you're not sitting back and you're not.
Why? Because I'm letting folks but my mission in my mind, I feel my mission is never accomplished.
Yeah.
And I think that maybe that's the one thing
You're
that
just
beats me
always
up all the
searching
time. It's
for
always
more
something.
and more.
And that's what I do. So part of doing that, I get a chance. Now that I'm retired, I get a chance to talk to kids from that's been remanded by the courts. These are young kids, 13 years old, with arm braces, with leg braces on, ankle monitors and things like that. Who sometimes they're lost. They have talents, but they're just
And
lost.
then feel like they don't have anyone to hear them or to understand them.
Right.
So you're giving them that.
And it's a tough population because coming from public health, I'm treating folks for infectious diseases and stuff, but murders is public health. Poverty is public health. Homelessness is public health.
Right.
And I didn't look at it like that because my mom was so focused on satisfying and saving lives of other folks. And it was marginalized communities that we were dealing with. Now I got a chance to, part of what I'm doing now is we have a grant from Northeast Treatment Center.
Okay.
And some of the kids that we're educating or that we're actually counseling, these are the one-off from kids, from parents who were on drugs or alcohol or was in the judicial system. So a lot of times that's all they know. Is it's not saying that they're doing bad stuff, but some kids don't know how to read. And I didn't know it. So going into this, it's crazy because going into this area of education, and I do it on Mondays, and I'm thinking that because of my education, I'm a college grad, and I'm doing some wonderful things for my fraternity and stuff like that I can touch the lives of these kids.
And because of where you come from.
Right.
Because of where you come from, even more so. Because like with all of that, like there's so many people that have all of that, but they don't have the part of
You gotta have
upbringing.
compassion. Yep.
But your upbringing plays a huge role and being able to relate to those kids and those kids to understand.
And it's
people
tough.
have to be able to see you
Yeah.
as, you look like them, you talk like them, you come from where they come from,
Yeah.
so it's easy for them to gravitate towards you.
That's right.
But you know what?
You're not judging them. You know their story.
But I used to think that I know their story,
Mhm.
right? But the difficult thing for me was to get in their mind. I'm tackling this new thing from a different angle,
Right.
not knowing that they don't trust me either, right? They don't trust me either.
So you're constantly trying to earn.
It took me
trust.
3 or 4 sessions to make one person smile.
Right.
Because, I'm talking about leadership skills, right? I'm talking a language that they never even heard of before, right? And they were embarrassed to tell me they couldn't read or couldn't write and things like that. And I'm thinking that at least in my
Because you're
session.
teaching too, and you're teaching as
Right.
you teach as well, right?
So it wasn't until I made one of the young ladies smile. I said, you know what? I got it. Right. And at that point, I said, I'm going to go home and practice. Because I used to go into the sessions 2 hours before, right? And develop my syllabus or lesson plan and just figure I can rock with it. But now, I have to go home and I got to rehearse and things like that because I'm talking to younger folks who could potentially be lost.
Mm-hmm.
But we got artists in there. We got entrepreneurs in there.
Talent, right?
All kinds of talent. We had a baker.
Mm-hmm.
We had. I actually brought you up and your kids up. This is what happened. True story. We were talking about different talents of some of the kids, and this one kid had a raspy voice, and and I'm not judging. I thought something was wrong with him, right? I thought something was wrong with him. So
you were talking about voiceovers, and I think yes.
And what happened was he changed his voice up to a normal voice, and I'm like, wow. And he does voiceover. I said, I got a friend who had 2 kids.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they were doing.
Right.
And I said, you know what? You can be successful at this. And I was able to say, hey, look,
because that was something that could have probably been a complex.
But he's doing it now.
Insecure.
But he's doing it
at
now.
First, before you said that. To him,
he was sounding like Kermit the Frog, and I'm like, and all the kids was laughing at him.
But now he's like, let me go put it to use.
Yeah, let me go put it to use. So,
and especially nowadays with all of this technology and things like that, where he can kind of work on it on his own at home, and get on TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, and all of that. But Greg, you have a book. Can you tell me a little bit about that and what is it focusing on?
So the book is called The Beginning Success, Beginning Guide to Success in Real Estate. What it talks a little bit about my journey, how I got started in real estate, and I put the pieces in my head in the book about how to get started. So a lot of times, like I said earlier, people want to do things but they don't understand how to. So I'm playing with Tony Sir, they want to take the pill and then read the Bible. You kind of understand what you're doing. So I put it in layman's terms, step by step. This is what you need to do if you want to become a real estate investor. How you want to make money in real estate. It's several different factors. So the book did well. More importantly, to be honest, if I'm being truly transparent, I didn't do the book to make a ton of money. I did the book for credibility. Because to come from where we come from, it's hard to make somebody laugh. I was a comedian. I got to almost burn myself up with gasoline to make somebody laugh.
Can you tell us, where can they get the book? Is it in the
book is on Amazon. It's called The Winning. It's at The Winning Hand. Gregory L. Lawrence Thorne. I'm the author. I self-published it. So it's available on all platforms out there. But what I really wanted to talk about, he was talking about something earlier. And people, like I said, I'm connected with 25 different banks, mortgage companies, right? And one of the ladies who I worked with years ago worked at Wells Fargo. And she was trying to figure out how did I get so many clients to come in my office, and she can't get a portion of the people to come in as black, because she was CFO for Wells Fargo, and her job was to make sure that the community, the African American community, get a certain amount of financing in the area. And she couldn't get no one to come in the bank. I need a loan. I need a mortgage. So I told her that the problem is that, first of all, when you don't have any when your finances is down, your spirits is down, right? So what we do, we have to build them up. G&J Financial Services, when you walk in our door, our role is to uplift you because we know you're looking for some help. And before we even get to any of the business, we talk about you. What is your goal? What do you want to do? And we try to we walk you through that path to make you feel comfortable. That's the key.
Yeah.
So she said, how do you get people to come to you? We make people feel relatable. People can relate to me. I'm from the community.
Yeah.
I'm not sitting there I'm sitting with a tie on, but they feel connected.
Right.
And we talk about, what is it that you want a house? Okay, we get
Because
you a house.
you know the struggles and the
We
things
know the struggles.
that hold us back.
Absolutely.
So,
And the
they're more
programs
comfortable.
that we need that's out there for us.
Mhm.
Like we just so grand stuff on, and it ain't gonna happen. It can happen. And
Yeah.
I've had testimony after testimony with folks that I've helped personally get into a beautiful home or just go from one circumstance to another circumstance financially.
Yeah.
When all we do is we work with them one-on-one. And I think most people, if you sit down and talk to anyone, right, and if whatever your skill is, if you just give them the basics of what they need to do, they'll do it.
Yeah.
But you can't talk over their head because again, we're not even gonna come in the door.
That's right.
If we feel timid, if we get intimidated. If your finances are low, you already feel timid.
Yeah.
If you talk about, I can't see the vision. It's too high. So we speak on a ground level. We work with one-on-one. We work with credit. We get them started at ground level.
Mhm.
And no matter where you are, we start you there.
Yeah.
You're 400 credit score don't work. That's fine. Credit is just credit. It's fine. It's fine.
I'm not.
I need you. That's what I say.
But
it's fine. Here's the thing about credit.
I need to grow up. But no, it's true though.
It's not where you start, it's where you finish.
See, you have to say more.
Because that's the reality of
He
it.
didn't say 500. He said
Yeah, it's
400.
4.
Okay.
Because I see that all
That's
around.
like a car for me.
But now here's the deal. Watch this. In 4 or 5 months, that 4, now she's at 590, 600.
Because you're guiding them
Oh
on
my
it.
God.
Yeah. And it's baby steps,
It's,
right?
it's the key. It's baby steps. You can't
It's
go
short
from
goals.
an
That's
Impala.
right.
You can't go from an Impala to a Bentley.
No.
You gotta take baby steps. And we, for some reason,
We want to go from an
we
Impala
wanna-
to a
we
Bentley.
wanna go
As
fast.
soon as we say
We wanna go
hello,
fast.
that's it. That's what we want. We want what we want. We don't care.
but some real stuff. I made tons of money in the field I'm in, and it's not about the money for me. It's about seeing that one person, that second person, that third person who's very, very vulnerable and saying, all I want to do is get a home for my babies.
That's right.
And
That
when we do
generational
that,
wealth
when we
and
do that at the table,
your
and they pick
legacy.
those
and-
keys,
yeah.
and they bring tears in their eyes, I'm like, whoa,
Mhm.
that's bigger than a paycheck.
Yeah.
You can't pay
That's
for that. And people say, man, I have clients that says, I trust and believe in you. The problem is now they call me about what color suit I need to get my husband.
Well, you're like, you have so much information, so much knowledge and things, you're teaching, you have a book, and you're out there actually doing the work. Let people know, like anybody that need help with finances,
Yeah, don't be afraid, man. If you need help,
let them know where
reach
they
out
can
to
find
me.
you.
I'm
how
on
they can reach
social
out to
media.
you.
Reach out to me. If you're sitting there and you're worried about, you want to go, you want to try to get an apartment, a house, you want to get credit together, you want business credit, funding, don't be afraid. Don't try to do it by yourself. Reach out to me. Reach out to Tyra. She'll talk back. She'll get back to me. But you can go on my social media platform. Instagram is Greg L. Thorne at gmail.com. And Facebook, Instagram, all those are Greg L. Thorne. You'll find me. If you can't find it, just Google my name, Gregory Lawrence Thorne. You got tons of information to come up. I promise you.
Thank
All
you
right,
so
Tyra,
much, Greg, for being here.
You are amazing. This is amazing.
I'm trying to be.
You're doing it, man. You're doing it. You got it.
I met Greg
And that's what I was
30 years ago.
about to say. Like, you guys have
Oh, yeah.
a history, and
You know how I met this guy?
wow,
I had a hair salon in Philadelphia, Old Times Avenue.
you
Right.
didn't get to hear that?
And no, he would he would, and I was a newbie.
Mhm.
I knew about business because I came from retail, and he would drive flying past Old Times Avenue.
What you was driving? What was you driving then?
He was light skinned with curly hair. Slim.
I love Sundays, right?
Yeah, back then.
All
right?
on vacation.
So I thought he was just too pretty to stop. You know what I mean? I'm pimp size. This guy, he just flying past. So one day I caught him at the light. Right? I caught him at the light right on the
Stop
corner.
speeding?
No, I didn't even know. We just started talking.
Yeah, we
Right.
conversated.
He pulled over. I started talking. He owned the hair salon on right off the top of Hawkins
Wow.
and Oga,
Yeah.
right there. What's the name of it back then, Greg?
Gosh,
I forgot what it was. But
it was,
but look, to my granddad, this thing had neon lights all over the place. That joint lit up all of Ogas Avenue. Let me tell you.
Oh, so
That
he
was
was
the
one
first
of
location.
those, huh?
Yeah, that's what he was.
That was the first
Down there,
Big and bold.
he had all that stuff down there.
Well, you do a lot in the community, a lot of teaching and, a lot of mentoring and very resource. Listen, I don't care if you want to figure out how to pick your nose. He's going to have a resource. Like
he's very resourceful.
he's very resourceful.
Mhm.
My first guest, I got connected Guyton
Mm-hmm.
through Anthony. Anytime I'm in a crunch or like need to know something or need somebody, like I'm thinking like, who can I count on, or who would know this, or who can point me in the right direction, who can put me in the room with the right people. Anthony is that guy.
Mm-hmm.
So tell them like where they can find you, or what you're working on and all of that good
I'm
stuff.
on social media. I'm on Facebook, Anthony Lloyd. You can go on my Instagram, ANoob81. That ANoob81 is Kappa Alpha Psi. It's ANoob81. Shout out to fraternity, Kappa Alpha Fraternity Incorporated. But yeah, you can go on there. You can find me. You can ask me questions. You can inbox me.
He knows it all, like y'all. Like,
I don't know. I don't know about.
But
if I don't
it hasn't
know,
been
what I will say
anything.
is one of the most honest friends I've ever had in my life.
Yes, a
When I'm
good guy,
talking
right?
about, I'm talking about a guy that's going to tell you the truth about you,
Yeah.
whether you like it or not.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of friendship you need.
I didn't used to be like that.
Yeah.
You need people to tell you about you.
You learn that, and I think that's
Yeah.
the same with me too. I wasn't always like that person to tell
No, you was always up front.
You think?
Yeah. You was always.
Why are you over there like really?
Yeah, always
Why
up
I
front.
feel like everybody say that every time I say that. I feel like I wasn't always that person. I feel like okay, well maybe now I just know how to keep my mouth shut and not just be so blunt and think before I say things. But I also feel like I'm a firm believer that if you have love for someone and you're a friend and or whatever, or family, whatever, you say what you mean and mean what you say.
But how did you, you're in a space where someone can they have a hard time taking criticism, right? And you know it, right? And every time you try to make a correction, not correction, it's constructive criticism.
Right,
Like,
exactly.
And I stopped pulling back. I used to, right? If you like it, I love it.
Yeah.
Right. But one thing I won't let you do is jump off the Empire State Building, and not tell you you're going to have a
Yeah, because why
headache.
would I sit around and watch you
Right.
self-destruct or, like just kind of, I can't.
I just think if you're genuine with your family members, with friends, when you're genuine, you're genuine. Look, man, you just got to be able to accept. First of all, friendship's supposed to be able to accept who we are. And I say, look, this is
in
who
relationships.
I am. Oh my God,
Especially relationships.
That's
I'm
a
not
whole
going to be
that's a whole
in a
topic.
relationship and feel like I can't say what I need to say. Like I'm gonna.
It's a lot of people that feel like they don't want to hear what you have to say.
Right.
Listen,
It's not important.
I'm struggling with that right
You
now.
know, I used to struggle with that. I think I made some changes. One of the things to help me go through as well, I used to hold back and not say anything, but it was hurting me too as well, because sometimes
Because why should you be the one to carry that weight or hurt or be uncomfortable, right? Like, why do I have to walk on eggshells or worry about, carry all of that weight and worry about how you feel or what you're thinking because I'm too afraid to bruise your ego or hurt your feelings. Let's talk about it.
Right.
Let's get past it.
Let's talk about it.
See what we
Let's
need
move
to
forward.
do. Cry about it, be mad, whatever, but it's out.
It's out.
And we're not having the same issue over and over and over again. We can figure out what we're going to do or not do about it, right? So yeah, I don't know, but I'm so grateful. I thank you guys for being here. It means everything to me. Like, my struggles, and each week. Now today's Friday, so starting Sunday, I'm gonna be right back on the pen. Like, okay, Tyra, like, I'm like, you gotta do this, get it together.
I got you.
But I know you got
I
me.
got
You got me.
Absolutely.
So
We'll pull it together.
so I'm just like, I'm excited about this journey. Like I don't, know where it's going, and that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that I'm doing it, and I'm enjoying it, and I'm surrounded by supportive people. I'm learning, I'm growing, and
But the key word to life and any success is that you do it.
yeah, I'm doing it.
And if it don't work, guess what? I did it.
Yeah, and then the crazy thing is, I prepare and I have all of these notes each week, and I barely use it. Like, I'll go and I glance, and then somehow my ADHD kind of throw me off track a little bit. But it is what it is. Thank you guys so much for being here
I want to
tonight.
give one shout out.
Yes, please do.
So I want to give a shout out to Jumping 215.
Yes.
Yep,
Yes.
Jump with Chalk.
Okay.
And sometimes I co-host for her.
Okay.
And different format, but
Okay.
it gives me the ability to be caught off guard.
Okay.
So I was always afraid to be caught off guard. So I love that, as well.
Yeah, we here's all love. Let's
Yeah.
talk about it. So we
Right.
talking we might be talking about finances 1 minute, and
Right.
the next minute we might be talking about
Community, relationships.
whatever.
Let's talk about it.
Let's
Let's
talk about it. So
Anytime.
that's what it is.
Yeah,
Thank you for the invite.
Thank you.
Let's do this again.
I can't wait.
Much
to have you
success
guys
to you.
back. And if you guys know someone that's a talented singer, spoken word artist, dancer, rapper, author, entrepreneur, send them my way. I also want to use this platform as a way to just kind of give our community, our people, a moment to shine. Share your talent, showcase, and all of those things. Just hit me up.
Yeah, we will do.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
No problem.
All right.